This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.
We have a part because when we came off, Neil decided he had loads of information.
What happened while we're having the part two is we normally have the program from 9 o'clock to 10, but my hour this evening I sent it out to everyone from 8 to 9. So therefore, while we're having a part two with Neil, he's going to talk about something that we thought we wouldn't see happening again in Ireland.
No, I got a call. Hello, everybody, by the way. Hello. I got a call this evening from a woman who got a 6-month default eviction notice from the landlord. Some laws have to come in now or something that the government can do this or something like that, or the landlord or something like that. So now I think she's in the position she's in. She has 3 children as well, and she has to go within 6 months. But I said I'd do something for her. She's down on that loan, and she's looking for some sort of derelict land. And she has a few bob to try and pay for it before she gets thrown out. So I'm going to do a video tomorrow night on her to try and do something for her. But apparently this is happening in Ireland now a bit now because of these new laws, whatever was brought in. She's 6 months more or less to go.
So
wherever the law.
She got a 6 months notice to be out of the premises.
Yeah. So from the landlord.
And as we know, there's very little available to rent anywhere. You know?
That's right. Now she has a few bob. She has a few bob to try and get some sort of derelict land to build something extremely small on it. But my point is, this is happening all over the country now, as far as I know. I'm not too sure what laws was brought in, but apparently they could just give you 6 months and away you go. And they were saying that the laws that were brought in is going to start evicting people quicker now from with people that are with landlords.
Well, the word eviction in Ireland has been, as we know, has been a terrible blight in our history in former times, and if this kind of carry on is going to come in again, it's going to have a terrible effect on communities and families and human beings as well. You know, as if we didn't have enough with 20,000 homeless. Put more onto that list is just shocking.
But Pat, I keep on saying this week after week that we're on here. There is no rational reason that people should be homeless in this country. Everywhere you look, you were speaking to somebody in the council in Shannon, and they were the head of the council and the housing, and they weren't even aware that there were empty houses around Shannon. Because he said to Pat, there are no houses available, and Pat said there's 4 of them across from me. And when I walked around, when he was going around when he was canvassing for the elections, the amount of houses that were available here in Limerick, nearly every second house is boarded up in certain areas. Yeah. Why not give those to somebody whose family may be tradesmen and could do up the house? But the council, they have their hands wrapped around everything. They want to hold on to the houses, but they don't want to do anything to it, to the point that the houses will fall into complete disrepair and there'll be no use to anybody. Why don't they just give them away and sell them maybe for €1 after 5 years to people, like they did in London or in Liverpool? Twice they did it, houses for £1 The people had to prove that the house was for a family home, not for sale, rent, lease, or...
They can look all that up, you know. It's a scheme that worked. But I mean, in Ireland, except Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael agree with you, you might as well go out in the street and bash your head off the wall. That's all.
And it says here, 3rd of August 2023, there are 81,712 vacant properties in Ireland, according to a recent report from GeoDirectory, a data company jointly established by An Post. That was in 2023. Now, it's saying here as well now, 163,433, according to the Census 2022. That's how many there was vacant properties on Census Night 2022. Approximately 30% of vacant properties enumerated in 2022 were also vacant in 2016, 48,000, while nearly half of those, 23,072, were also vacant on Census Night 2011. There's houses all over this country. I'm not too sure whether they can't get the tradesmen or not, because I know we're falling back on tradesmen. I don't know what it is, but we're so far behind on stupidity, if you ask me.
Yeah, what it is they don't care. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They do not care. They just don't care.
It's madness, it is. And, you know, as I say, she's sort of like, she needs to get somewhere within 6 months. That's only one little story I heard, but, you know, she needs to get somewhere within 6 months. But she has,
You
like,
know,
money to start again.
We have a tax on everything. We nearly have a tax on speaking now in this country. We have property tax, local property tax. We went back to Kilkee last Saturday. Anybody knows Kilkee? It's one of the busiest roads in County Clare, nearly all year round. The surface of that road is appalling. It's just appalling for 2025. And Clare County Council are directly responsible for that. And they should know that. When you pass Fanny O'Dee's, you might as well park your car and get into a tractor and trailer, because the road is so bad. And surely be the goodness they know that that road is one of the busiest in the county. And it's also one of the most dangerous, if you ask me. But anyway, it's just for this day and age.
If you remember, Pat. Okay. If you remember, Pat, I did a story there a while ago regarding the homeless. This guy was in his car for 2 years, sleeping in his car, and he said what?
I remember that.
He texted me, and I asked him to come. Yeah, but he was saying I got him a house within an hour. But anyway, he was saying that there was lots of people in that car park where he was sleeping in his car. He was not the only one, and I'm after reading out there about thousands of vacant properties there that are there, and he was not the only one. He said that lots of people sleep in that car park, in that car. He said.
But what are the local authorities doing about it?
You know,
they're doing nothing. To my way of thinking, they're doing nothing
you just said
it.
it, Pat. They just don't care. They don't care. Yeah, I know.
Why should they?
I know.
Why should they? It's not affecting them or theirs. They're not going to be out in the streets. Their children aren't going to be out in the streets. They're well looked after.
Yeah, I know.
Generations of their family are looked after.
It's the same with the government. It's the same with the government, the medical. You know, if someone, their kids get sick, straight to the private hospital straight away. They just don't care. It's just the way it is.
Well, I'm paying private insurance.
It's horrible. It's disgusting. You have to.
I'm paying private insurance.
Yeah.
And I feel I have to, because and mainly because when I was in hospital and I wasn't on private insurance at the time, and my shoulder was broken, and the nurse couldn't give a damn, and she just kept pulling my arm up like this to try and raise it, and I kept screaming in pain. And I was home 3 days with exercises to do when I passed out with the pain, only to find out that the shoulder was broken all along. And I thought this mightn't happen if I was a private patient. So I ended up going and paying for health insurance. It's nearly killing me financially to pay it. But you're in a catch-22. Not that I don't think you'd be treated any better as a private patient as you are in the public. You're still not treated, but at least you will be treated quicker.
Well, you'll be looked at anyway, at least, you know.
But it should be like that, Pat. Everybody in this country should get the same level of care.
You must remember, Mary, we have a broken health system. Broken. There's a hospital in the road from us here in Limerick, and you wouldn't put a dog in there. You just wouldn't take a dog in the door. It's appalling.
I forget who was saying on YouTube there the other day that they're living in China. And he said he got really sick, and he was speaking from the ambulance. The ambulance was at his house in less than 10 minutes. And he was taken to the hospital, and there were Americans on, and there were British, and there was every nationality on, saying it would have taken, and I live 20 minutes from the hospital, it would have taken 3 hours for an ambulance to come to my house to pick me up. His blood, everything was taken in the ambulance, and a total record of it before he ever got to a hospital. and they were waiting for him to treat him immediately the minute he got to the hospital. No, it wasn't China. It was Russia. It was Russia. I mean, could you believe it? I couldn't believe it. I must dig out the interview or the podcast, because he was speaking from the ambulance, and less than 10 minutes it took them to get to him.
It's just dawned on me now. As long as we have politicians running the health service, they set up the health service executive, the HSE, to replace all the health boards. The HSE. It's morphed into a system whereby nobody knows what anybody is doing at any given time. It's nothing but chaos, total chaos. And if you go to make a point about the incompetence of the management of Limerick University Hospital, you'll be berated by crowd thumpers.
While we're on the university hospital, and I suppose it applies to all hospitals, a personal gripe of mine: I don't believe anybody should be paying for parking in the University Hospital Limerick or any hospital. I think if you go in to visit somebody who is a patient in there, if you're bringing a patient to the hospital, or if you are a patient either as an outpatient or as an inpatient, you should be able to present a ticket leaving that should exempt you from having to pay. It's not good enough for them to say, well, we're just trying to avoid people coming in and using the car park. If they haven't got a valid ticket that shows that they're either a patient or they're visiting somebody, it's terrible. There are people out there in the hospital who never get visitors because people just can't afford to be parking the car for a few hours while they're in there. Or someone goes to the hospital in an emergency and the family just leaves in the car trying to find a free parking space somewhere. It's just crazy. I don't understand why people have to pay for car space in the hospital when they're using the facilities.
Every so often this comes up on the radio, different radio stations for discussion. But at the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. It's as simple as that. Nobody cares. We just have a broken system with a broken country, you know. Everywhere you look, in every facet of our daily routine, a lot of things are not working properly. And then on the other hand, they'll say, we have plenty of money. It's not about money. It's about the competence of people who are put into positions and they're not capable of doing the job. That is the case in many instances, particularly in the hospital. It's obvious that the management system at the University Hospital in Limerick are not fit for purpose. It's as simple as that. Year after year, if you have the same problems cropping up in a hospital, the same problems year after year, what do? You do nothing. If you're in Ireland, nothing is done. You promote people probably. And then you bring in a different minister, another politician. That person's not going to do anything either.
Very few people will go beyond their work criteria. They're employed as A, B, C, D, and E, and they don't do it. I know I've said it oceans of times before. I mean, I know the nurses work hard and all that, but
this is so.
But I know they do. I mean, but
everybody works hard for their money.
Having said that, Pat, when the nuns were running the hospitals, everyone had a job and a responsibility. The nurses looked like nurses. You knew which ones of them were nurses. You knew which ones of them were first year because they wore a green stripe on their hat. The plain were first year. Third year were the blue stripes, the green stripe, and then final year and staff nurses wore the blue stripe. Now you don't know who's a physiotherapist, you know the candy stripers. You don't know who's who. You don't know who's working. They're all dressed in trousers and tops instead of, and and then everyone, or the nurses, were responsible for the cleanliness of the hospital and the cleanliness of their own area. So there was someone you could say, you didn't clean this properly. This was your job and you didn't look after that area properly. Now it's handed out to companies to clean, and it's just kind of like that inside in the hospital. And can you blame them? The misfortunes are paid little or nothing. Some of the nurses, all of the nurses are part of their degree means that they have to work in the hospital free of charge for a certain period of time, and that they only get paid when they've qualified. So they're being held over a barrel, basically working out in the hospital. What would entice you to work if you're out there and it's part of your degree that you have to work there for free?
And park there and pay for it.
And a nurse was telling me she has to park there. She has to pay for her accommodation. Years ago, the nurses stayed in the hospital. They had nurses' quarters, so they got those as part of their
training.
Yeah, and as part of their fees. Now they have to pay for the fees, their accommodation, their parking every day, and they get no wages until they're qualified. I think that's immoral. How could you expect anyone to be motivated to go in and do beyond what'll get them their qualification? And then on top of it, they're working in places that some other misfortune who's paid pittance is coming in and expected to clean every single day and is only half cleaning. The nuns used to make sure that every nurse was responsible for their own.
For the people watching who are very observant, Neil is no longer with us. His Wi-Fi is acting up. So just in case
he said, send me a text, he'll be on next week.
Yeah.
And he'll finish his...
That's actually a story about the evictions of those people that contacted him. And he does... You can catch Dean Murray on TikTok. He does a lot of little videos on TikTok as well. And he's one of those concerned citizens that take up different causes when he's asked to. Anyway, they are. But for I think Mary, we should finish up soon and.
Okay, I'll play the music to play us out. The last time we got into a little bit of I was pressing the music and Pat was pressing the music and I was pressing it, and we're in two different premises, and it just kept cutting out. So goodbye and God bless.
Take care, everyone.
This is Rare Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.